Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are so excited. I'm so excited about tonight. We do regret that we are just starting because we've just been having some last minute things that we've been having to do, just wanting to get on and make sure we're doing it in excellence. So thank you for your patience. Now, while as I'm talking, if you would like and share, begin to share and let people know that the Oasis is on the air. So this is what we're calling the Mother's Day Special Edition. This is a special edition for our midweek service, and I have some exciting guests on tonight. So Bishop, I'm hosting on tonight. So because I am a mother, I am a wife, I just love what we're going to be talking about on tonight. So God is so good. So again, if you gather your own children around, because we're going to be sharing wisdom, some fun, insight into our lives, into what we're doing. So who am I talking about? I'm talking about myself. I have my mother that's here with me, and I'm going to have my two beautiful daughters that are going to be with me so on today. So I know you're going to be excited. I hope you're excited as I am, because it's just going to get real. It's going to be real relevant things that are going to help impact your life. And you're going to, as I said, you're going to hear some stories and a lot of humor, some sweat and some tears, some things that we've gone through, and what's ahead for us as mothers to our own children. So we're going to take a brief pause, and then we're going to be right back with our guest going to be right on the set with me.
your mother did? Well, most of the things my mother did, as I look back over life, were very, very helpful. And one of the things she did was to make sure that we were obedient and that we followed the rules. Now, as I grew up as a child, I barely remember getting spanked a lot. I did get spanked.
They still spank these days?
Well,
Okay,
listen. Well, I think that's what's falling short today, because the Bible does tell us to do not spare the rod. And so if you do, you'll spoil the child. But some people don't know how to handle the rod. They are too abusive. But anyway, I did get spanked, and I don't remember being spanked by my mom, but I did by my dad. And like today, we say words like golly, gosh, and darn. Well, that word darn, I said it when my daddy asked me to do something, and I said darn, and I was walking by, and he took my dress, and that's the only spanking I remember getting from my dad, because I tried to be obedient. So I did teach my children to try to be obedient, and most of them were obedient. And
most of them.
Yeah, well, personality. You got to know that each of your children are different, and none of them are the same, and you have to deal with them according to their personality. I didn't expect from each one of them the same from the other. So, and I treated them according to their personality, not because I favored. That was one thing my mother didn't do. She did not favor her children. She did not, and I carried that same quality with my children. I treated them according to their personality and their behavior.
And I do the same, all three.
Right, so that way children won't have a self-esteem, I feel, in life, because you favored one child over the other.
And Mama, I want to jump right in, and I want to say something that I always tell people that you did, and you just affirmed that. I tell people my mother didn't treat us all the same. She treated us fairly. And that was because the different disciplines that she needed to do. So we're not going to get into who got the most spankings, and we're not going to do that. Well, maybe we may want to do that. But thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to have one of the girls just to jump in. Tell us something about motherhood. I have some questions that we're going to get into, but just as an opening, how motherhood, what it means to you, and tell us, do you have children?
Yes, I have a very intelligent, charismatic 11-year-old who I love so dearly, named Carrington, who I'm super proud of. I tell her all the time, I'm honored to be your mother. It's an honor to be her mother, that God would bless me with her. So I get excited when I get so cheesy when I talk about my baby. But one thing that I can say about motherhood is it's hard. It's hard. It is hard as they continue to grow and their personalities change. They're around others. Different things change about them, and I would just have to say, like, it's an adjustment. So it's a daily journey. Yes. To parent well. I don't always get it right though, but I'm parenting.
Very good, very good. I know we're going to jump into that later on, but when you're talking about the challenges of motherhood, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to go delve into it. So we're going to move over to Dee. And y'all know I don't care for nicknames, but
it doesn't sound right you saying it. You're my mom, so you call me by my biological. But if you don't have that relationship,
yes, he will get you straight if you. So,
I do have one child. She is 6, but if you ask her, she's 7 or 8. She's just so ready to grow up. But she's probably one of the best things that God has placed in my life. I can't imagine what I would be doing if I didn't have her. But to piggyback off my sister, motherhood is, I don't see how my parents had 3.
Right. Come on.
It is just the one, with the after school activities, the attitudes, the
mood swings. Jesus.
Well, if any of you all know my daughter, you have seen her.
Grams. I'm Grams. The grandchildren. Well, one started calling me Grams, so they call me Grams. They call me Grandma. They call me
she Granny.
grams. But
But
I don't
it's a joy.
see any of that.
It looks like a piece of cake now.
I mean, now that your children are grown,
It
it's
looks
okay.
like a piece
but,
of cake.
and you all don't help out because I mean, y'all spoil them,
Oh,
so it makes it even worse
let's
on
make
the,
it plain. Let's make it plain.
make it
on
worse on the
this
parents.
end.
But I had a good example when it came from my mom and both of my grandparents. So, pray for me.
all right. Well, then speaking of that, when you say that, you were quite spoiled yourself. So when you say that, with that,
This is coming from Pastor K, and you all heard Bishop's messages about Pastor K being spoiled. So
she was
Oh,
spoiled.
yes.
She was very spoiled. Very spoiled.
Oh, yes, she was spoiled.
Yes.
Very spoiled, and we go home every
Oh,
summer
she's
to her
talking
to her grandparents. The other set of grandparents, both are from Georgia in Albany, but this one would go home for every summer, and if she had her way, she would probably go home more often. And my father-in-law, he would tell her he's a sand monster, and she was just spoiled. And my mother-in-law says that she cried all the time. I don't remember any of that, but I tell you, Bishop was in the background. He cleared his throat because he said she cried all the time, and I just don't remember that. But I know that as a mother, that it's rewarding. I feel rewarded because I have my two daughters. I have them here in San Antonio with me. I have the granddaughters with me. I have my mother. She's here for a brief period as she travels. I mean, she travels, and so we're excited about that. I'm excited about that because I'm very I'm family oriented, and I love waking up, seeing my mother here. I love my daughters. They're in different locations, but I'm glad that they're here. And when y'all say that, how y'all don't see how we did it with three, I can imagine each of our parents have traveled throughout wherever we've been stationed. We were in Valdosta, Georgia. We were in Jacksonville,
yes.
Georgia for 10 years. And we've been out here in July of 2021. We will be have been stationed here living here 25 years. And it just doesn't seem like 25 years. And I think to myself, I just couldn't imagine my children leaving and not being in the same area. And I think about when they get married, what if one of their spouses wants to live in another city? I was like, oh Lord.
Love y'all.
And then
Well, there we
Y'all
go.
can't see
Goodbye. We're headed
y'all
to a
can't
new
see somebody
city.
shouting.
We're headed to a new city.
y'all should see
Welcome.
Bishop in the background.
We'll
He's
just have
supposed to be
we'll have
working the
an annex
camera,
of
but
the
he's
Oasis.
huh?
We'll have an annex of the Oasis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, y'all got pastor's wife, pastor. We know that those things are gonna happen, but I just sometimes my mind starts racing and I think about them not being with me. So what I have to do, I have to bring my mind in and enjoy the moment, because the Bible says for them, with the revelation God gave to me after I was thinking about my daughters being married, and I said, well, what if they leave and go to another city? And I was like, oh, and the Lord says, you got your marriage. He said, leave and cleave. They can be them left and cleft. So they leave and cleave, cleft and left. They adios, goodbye, things like that. So that's what I'm just excited about that. But to have my daughters here, and then they're working in ministry with us. And I know that many times you can't say that that's an easy task. Easy task working with their mother.
Just smile.
Yes.
As wanting to have things done in excellence and done at a particular time. And each of my girls, let's just relay it out here. One of them can't stand this. Well, you see the eye contact with this one right here. You do that, I said, Mama. I said, yeah, my thoughts are not coming to me. And can't stand that. But just working with us in ministry and working, I have my mother here. She's been a principal. She's now working still in the classroom, still doing those things, and it's just rewarding. So we're going to get in here and we're going to talk about what is one of your funniest memories so far of for me, and then as you've been a mother with your own daughter, and then me as your mom.
Ooh, my funniest memories. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. When we used to go to Grandma Willie Clyde's house, and we all be down in her lower room playing, and all of a sudden you hear them speaking in tongues, and the next thing you know, somebody come down the stairs and they're like, "Get up here, you gonna pray with us too?" And we're like,
You scared?
"You scared?"
But you coming to pray.
But now, I see we needed that at the time, but it's funny now. And as far as like my mom, it's now that we're adults. More now, our funny memories are just her text messages that don't
make sense.
She'll say, instead of saying, "Hey, come to the house," "Hey, it house here," and you're like,
Okay. Putting me on blast.
So, but
can you clarify that just to make my
I don't
image?
know if Pastor K is talking to text or if
It's auto text.
Apple is auto texting
It's
for
auto
her,
texting.
but I have proof.
Yeah, proof. Well, okay, so that's funny. It really is. But I do. You'll come back at me and say, "Mom, huh?" You always say, "Huh," or something like, "What you mean?" So we have some funny moments. I like to say, as we prepare to get to everybody else, this is the comedian. DeAndre is the comedian of the family. If you're gonna laugh about something, you're gonna send something, she's gonna be the one from text or conversation or something is going to make everybody laugh. And you think you're having a serious moment. I can remember when I graduated from Bible college, and one of the gentlemen that was making a presentation began to speak in Hebrew.
Oh yes, DeAndre.
Oh my gosh, when he began to speak in Hebrew, that DeAndre, I didn't know who it was. He began to do, he was speaking in Hebrew. They laughed so hard, and I did not know. I was so embarrassed. I turned around, and it was them. They had got the snickering and the laughing, so it was a very awkward moment. But for me, afterwards, I laughed because it was her, and then she had her brother and her sister laughing. So, all right, Deborah, can you go next? Can you just tell us about one of your funny moments with your child, or with me, or just in life, some funny memories that we've had so far?
With my baby, oh my God, there's so many. I think when I can think of the funniest one was probably we were at our previous residence, and I remember I was scurrying about the house, like looking for her. I couldn't find her. I was just super nervous. At that time, Carrington was like 2 or 3, and she loved to hide in just random places. Some parents might not think it's funny, maybe not supervision, but whatever. She's fine. She's 11. But I remember I was looking, she made it. I remember I was looking all over for her, and I'm like, "Lord, where's my kid?" And everybody's looking over for her. And I remember, so there was a small space between the washer and the dryer. And I remember finding my baby, and she was just hiding in there. And as soon as I found her, she just started laughing because she knew like we were looking for her, and she thought it was a game. And so I think that's a pretty funny memory, because she used to like to hide into small crevices of spaces, and now Neilani does that too. So
she does. They all do something. Okay, and then a funny memory of me and you, or something that.
Well, for us, we have a lot. There's a lot, but I'm saying we at church. We're gonna keep it church-wise. I think funny memories, and it still happens now. I think DeAndre can attest to that. My mom she could make a face, and without even saying any words out of her mouth, we know exactly like what to correct immetally. And now we're 33 and 38. Oh, 37. I'm sorry. 37.
She got a birthday coming up next week. 36.
Oh my gosh, you're 37.
36.
Okay, she's 36. Excuse me, 36. And I remember just, if y'all watch us in church, we just have an unknown type language. I mean, it's kind of funny because when we get to Sunday dinner and we start talking about it, it's like, "Did you see when Mama made that face? You knew where she went." And then exactly. So, I think that would be a funny memory. We have our own language without even talking. We kind of know what exactly needs to go on and what needs to happen.
Go correct that. Go bring my shoes. My feet hurting. Or
we know.
And I really love that. I love that. We got a lot of funny moments. I can't even think of them all right now, but and I know I'll think of a few. all right, Mama, you want to go? And some funny things maybe that about your mom. Now, by nature, I'm not a real jokester. Because of the level of respect that I want. But then I like to lay low with my girls and more girl time now. Growing up and raising them, and I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years of first of years of our marriage, and I loved it. And that's a funny thing, and I'll tell you about that after, Mama.
Well, I would like to say you get that not being a jokester from
From
me.
you, exactly.
She got that from me.
Jesus, because she got 3 kids that love to joke.
But anyway, that's good. That's good to keep the fun in the family. But my fun remembrance of Quantum is that when she was small, believe it or not, she had a speech impediment, what you would say. Some of her consonants she couldn't say. Her older sister, she called her Webby, and we worked with her. The school worked with her, and now your auntie Deborah. She couldn't say certain words like that, wabbit and all. And some people say that's speech impediment, but children can overcome that. Children can overcome that just when you see them doing it confidently, correct them and show them your teeth and where your tongue is going. Debbie.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Rabbit.
So well.
And look, you wouldn't believe that she had that problem, would you?
I did.
So thank God for that. That's what I could remember. And once one of our relatives, she and her cousin, Demetrius, asked that one of the relatives take them to the store one evening.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And really, the relative didn't want to take them. And they jumped in the car, jumped in the back, and went to the store. And that person was driving so fast. They were so afraid. They stayed down into the bottom of the car. And when they got back, they never wanted to ride with that.
We never wanted to ride because the person was drunk. And my grandma and my mama had told us don't go anywhere. And I'm telling you, we got in that car and we flew
But now
from
they
one
laugh
side.
about it.
We laugh about it now.
But and I didn't know that had happened until she became an adult.
Yes. I want to go back to DeAndre. One of the things that I remember so vividly about DeAndre just making us laugh as a family. We were playing a game. It was all of us, and her brother. He's a grown man, married man, father, but he had. We were playing Monopoly. And Monopoly, my husband Bishop was buying up all the property. And so DeAndre said he was cheating. And I remember him asking, he said, man, you could sell that. And he said, really, Dad? He did like that. And that girl laughed so hard. It was a funny moment. She cried. She was laughing so hard that she was crying. So we have some fun around here. We like to travel. We like to, we travel with my mom. I like to take, and I told Bishop I want to take the girls on a girls trip, just them and myself in the summer of this year. So we like to have fun. We like to enjoy life because we don't believe life is short. We believe life is precious.
Yes, it is.
Yes, we don't like to say life is short. Some others choose that word, but life is precious. So, all right. So y'all can just jump right in at any time. All right. And so what's the most trouble that you've ever gotten in?
Let me take this one. What I do now, I get to sign my dad's name on checks.
That was going to be mine. Come on now.
So now I get to do it, and I don't get in trouble. It just
You can be trusted now.
so I wasn't trusted then.
That's with consent.
Yes, of course, yes.
You took mine. That was going to be
No,
mine.
I got forging checks. They was forging checks.
It wasn't checks.
I mean, not checks, but signatures.
Yeah, making us think like we fraud.
No, it wasn't checks.
Correct that. Edit that. Forging signatures on papers for school.
Paperwork.
Right.
I was
Man, we integrity field.
Yes.
You was in middle school?
Yes, we are integrity field.
Yes.
Integrity, commitment, and excellence.
Most trouble I ever got in? Ooh. Well, I could think of one when I ran away from school. Some girls had threatened to beat me up. And I got on the bus. And I was on the bus. And then that was the first time that my sister, Coretta, which love, she's such a family oriented. I mean, even way above what I am. And I got in trouble because they threatened to beat me up, and I was at a new school, and I ran all the way from, see, my mama nodding already. I ran from one school, and I used to run really fast. So I ran from one school, which was West Town Elementary School, all the way back to my old neighborhood because I felt safe. That was a safe place for me. And about midway there, I got from West Town Elementary, and some of y'all don't know, some of y'all watching, you're going to watch this broadcast, you're going to know, or if you're watching it live, I got all the way to Gordon Avenue when I was headed towards the railroad tracks, and I was headed towards Slappy, and here I heard this car blowing, and here it is, my mama and my grandma in the vehicle together. I got a whipping that day. That was trouble. I got a whipping not because I ran away, but not because I left school, but because I ran. You don't run from a fight. So Mama still know. Mama they believe I could have took on all 6 of them. But I'm saying that was it wasn't funny, and it's funny now. But just trying to think of something that I got in trouble for. I got in trouble for not just with my mom. My dad would keep money, and he would always place it in a certain way, and I would always grab all his change, and I would get in trouble for that because that was close to stealing because I didn't ask. So let me see, DeAndre. Oh, y'all both said okay, Mom.
Well, I can't think of anything
That you got in trouble.
when I got in trouble for? Because I told you I tried to be obedient.
Oh,
I tried to obey my mom and my dad. Now my father worked railroad, and his job worked from Sunday evening. He left on Sunday, and he would come back on Friday. So Mama was the main disciplinarian. And boy, reason I didn't get much spanking is because she didn't. I don't ever remember my mama raising her voice. She would say, "You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that." And if I looked as though I was not going to do it, she would lean over like that and look at me. That meant you better get to moving.
you better get it together.
You better get to moving. And that's why I didn't get much. I tried to be obedient. I really did. My mama could spank. She really could spank with her hand. And you thought you could run away from my mama? Boy, no, because she could take you and put you between her legs, cross that leg, lean that rump up there, and she would have a hallelujah, go Goliath time. So spanking really is very fruitful. Listen, if you don't have to keep
That's
repeating.
coming from the one that's administering it.
You don't have to keep repeating the same thing over and over. So you sit your child down, tell them what the consequences are.
That's good wisdom.
If you tell them what the consequences are, you don't want to just use the rod, but you got to let them know very early. Listen, some people, I've observed them, when a child is in your arms and doing something and you trying to straighten that child in your arms like 3 and 4 months old, that's the time to start letting that child know, not pulling back from you right then. Don't wait till you get, you don't understand. Yes, he does understand. They understand yes and no. Correct it then. Because the older they get, the stronger they're going to get, and that will of disobedience is going to grow. So you have to nip it in the bud. When you see it start, you're still going to be gentle and kind to your child, but it starts early.
Okay. What age did each of you become parent? For the first time, I was 19 years old. I became a first-time mother.
I was 21 when I had my baby.
I was 30.
And I was early. I was early. We won't go into that this afternoon.
Well, we can be candid about that, but because people need to be healed and know that there's hope beyond.
Well, I'm healed.
Yeah.
Well, my first child was at 16 years old.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And her name is Deborah.
Yes.
And about, 19...
She don't want to tell her age.
About 19 years old, I think it was 19 years old, was Coretta.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you, about 20 or 21.
Yes, ma'am. I was.
So I've enjoyed, and I still am enjoying my parenthood. And I love my girls.
Okay,
This is the
so
baby.
let's delve into that a little bit. We want to be candid. Okay, Dr. Brown was talking about she was 16. She was unmarried. Okay,
When I got pregnant.
When she got pregnant, Minister Deborah, you have that same testimony, and now we thank God for the.
Yes, I was 21 and I was not married, and thank God I did not marry him.
Thank you,
We
Jesus.
bless the Lord. Yes, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
God works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
But I made that point so that as we're being candid about our experiences, Bishop likes to tell, and we throw this in the atmosphere. DeAndre says, "Dad, because Bishop, you're a preemie." Okay. So when we talk about that, and I know somebody said it may be TMI, but somebody needs to know that there's hope after you have a child out of wedlock, or that's the term that we've used for so long, but you're unmarried, you're unwed, you're not married. And some people, and Dr. Brown, you talk about that so much, how you talked about how she didn't want to, you never wanted to disappoint grandmama.
Right.
And when
But that was one thing, right? And I learned from that one. That's
Yes,
when it
ma'am.
started.
Well, one of the things that you told me when you knew that you were not on time for as being a lady for your menstrual cycle, you talked about that. And we're talking candidly because this is going to bless someone.
Yes, it's going to bless
and the
someone.
disappointment, but then you told me that when you heard her yell out like that of the disappointment, how you had disappointed her, she never had any trouble out of you from the time that she left this earth. And so can you talk about that, how you were able to, the child was not a mistake.
No child
was not a
God
mistake.
God
But
allowed it.
the hopelessness that the society or that day, and even now sometimes, of how you are now, you are a doctor in theology as well as a degreed administrator. Can you talk a little bit about that to help?
Yes,
and
I'm
talking to
glad
that camera and just be able to bless somebody.
I'm glad that you brought that up, and
Yes,
this is the time of my life to share that. All right, I was 16 years old, which means I had just finished the 10th grade. During those times, my mama had told me, you're going to have the baby, and you're going to go back to school. And she said, while you're carrying the baby, I don't want you to be feel sorry for yourself. I don't want you to be on the system. She said, I want you to go to beauty school while you're pregnant, because, we want to build up my self-esteem. So I enrolled in beauty school that September, and then the child was born at the end of the year in December. So during that time, if you were a mother, unwed mother, or either married, they wouldn't allow you to go to school, to the open school, to the high school daytime. So they said that I would have to enroll in the evening class. So that was at the end of 59. By the time the next school term came in 1960, they had made the rule that girls could come back to school, but they just could not associate with the children who were not mothers. So when I went back to school, it was one young lady from Newton, Georgia. She was there, and she had a son, baby boy, and we just talked together. We just met together. It was nothing, no talking about any other stuff. We talk about the lesson and everything. So I finished high school in 1962, and I had to stop the beauty school at that time. So the cosmetology teacher saved my hours. And after I graduated in 1962, I went and enrolled in the technical college from Monroe Area Vocational Technical School in Albany, Georgia. And I went and I graduated early. So by that time, before I graduated in 1963, my second child was born, and I had her in April. So the hours that I had saved up from the year before I started high school made me save up the time that I was out with that birth for my second daughter.
Okay.
So I finished that, and after finishing that, the Lord placed on my heart, I did hair for 7 years. 7 years, and all along I wanted to be an educator. So see, you have to crawl before you walk. You don't say that I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. Because even after I had the first child, I did housework and I was good at it. And back in those days, the housework, you didn't get but $3 a day working from 8 to 5. All right? And I had a relative's aunt. She had some of those houses. She would give me the houses that she didn't want if someone paid her more. So when it moved up to $5 for her, and she went, matter of fact, she got a job at a hotel, and she gave me the job that she had worked 5 days a week and making $25 a week for 5 days a week. So I was growing. See, you got to crawl before you walk. So I used that, and that held me up till I went back to high school. All those days. And then so I said to myself, after I did hair for 7 years, I said, I always wanted to be a school teacher. I said, I'm going to college. Well, I was always a musician because I learned to play the piano when I was 12 years old. I was going to music. See, listen, I had a lot of things in the fire, talents.
Yes, yes.
See, I was kind of like that God gave the man all those talents, and I used that. And matter of fact, before I graduated from 10th grade, I made my daughters. Before I graduated high school, I made my daughter's first dress by hand.
But see, this is what we're talking about, making it so practical, because what we call it today is a side hustle.
Yeah, I was doing
She
that.
had-
And I taught music,
She had
and
that.
I taught what I learned to the people. That's the money. I used that money to go to college. And so when I said, after 7 years I had done hair, I said, I'm going to college if I don't do anything. So the Lord dropped in my spirit, get you a piano. You're already playing for these choirs, so take that money and get you a piano. So my mama had shown me when we first started housekeeping and I had married, my mama told me she wanted me to build up my credit. So built my credit, and she helped me open up my furniture account. See, so I had the furniture. We had the furniture and all that in one room. We had saved that up before we had the apartment.
Yeah, see, these are great memories.
Yeah, but anyway, that's a good story right there. But anyway, I saved that money and had my first college tuition by playing piano for churches and by teaching music lessons. And I saved it up ahead of time. And by the time for that first one, I saved up, that was before the next one, because it wasn't about $85 a quarter. And I was taking 11 hours. So I went to college in 1969 and graduated in 1959, graduated in 1972, because I went straight through till I finished. So, and listen, it was just a blessing how God allowed me that I still kept playing for the choirs and teaching the music I was going. My mama helped me with the children for me studying. Okay, by the time I had 60 hours, there was a program on the bulletin board of the college that said, we will pay you $75 a week plus $15 for each child. So therefore I had 3 children. That was $45 added to the $75 a week. And we got paid every 2 weeks. All right, so the college paid for our tuition, paid for our books and everything, but the catch was this. You had to go to school in the classroom with a certified teacher working from 8 to 3. All right, from 8 to 3, you were there. You had an hour to rest. And they had a program that called for after school for disadvantaged children whose parents could not pay for kindergarten. They could not pay for kindergarten. So the Dr. J. Allen Pete, he's deceased, he had a 2-year program, 2-year programs, and we was in the first one. So he fixed it where we had to go and teach at the public school from 4 to 6 in the evening to teach those children. And there were 5 schools that were in it. It was 50 students pulled from the college who were in the program that they paid that money to. So there were 5 adults of us in the program that had children. One lady had 7 children, but they told her they won't give her money but for up to 3 or 4 children. And that money was used, and we went there and worked from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. After that, they gave us 15 minutes to get to Albany State to have the classes that we needed for graduation. So from 6 to about 9 at night, every night except Friday, that's how we made up our class hours. And we had to maintain a B average. You couldn't make less than a B.
And so with that, you went on, you got your master's.
Well,
and
a year after that, okay?
After that.
Well, it was more than a year, because I graduated with my BS degree in 1972, and by 1975 in August, it was the master's degree.
There's a lot of that, and you know what? I know that there have been some challenges over those years to get you to where you are now. And so, as you've been speaking to those young ladies or someone that maybe has a child that, and even in today's, that's been over 60, almost 60 years
yes,
ago.
it's been a long time.
Even in this day and time, people think that they can't make it, not just with a husband, if you have a husband, and the husband may not even be supportive, and being a single mother. I remember, I'm gonna move over to Minister Deborah. Yes. I remember when you got pregnant with Carrington, and I remember that your father told you that, as supporting yourself and things like that. Of course, you were at the home with us, but I remember so vividly that you, because you have some intense talks with your dad, and your dad is like, you have some intense talks with your dad, and every one of them seems to produce some tears in you, because I know that he loves you.
He's so hard on me. He's hard.
I don't know about that. I think he spoils them so much, and we won't get into that. That's another show. That's another episode. But I remember he told you to apply for government assistance, and you cried, and you said, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to stay on it 1 year or 6 months or whatever you said.
1 year.
One year. I mean, she was in tears. And she said, I'm going to come off of that. And I'm telling you, this girl came off that assistance. And can you speak into that, how that period or that moment blessed you? And maybe it wasn't what he said, but maybe the hardness that he gave you drove you, that gave you the fight to get it done. When your mom was so loving, right? Was I loving?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, right over here, this camera over there. Mr. Deborah. Talk to that.
So what I will say to that is that, of course, I was a new mama at 21, but I think that as a new mom, there was different levels of challenges. It's too much to go into on this evening, but when it comes to Christian parents talking to their children about sex, that was a different conversation that maybe I wore the purity ring up until I was 21, until that time, and I remember someone spoke into my life and they said, someone has been in the position that you've been in and they made it out, so why not you? So when it came the time and it was a particular woman of God that had prayed over me, and at that time my baby in my womb, and when she spoke those words to me, and then I had a conversation with my father, and he was like, well, I'm not going to, basically I'm not going to help you. You need to go out here and do what you need to do. You went out and you had this child, and there I am kind of, I felt like they say the rug was pulled from under your feet. I felt like that because I'm like, you my daddy, like you supposed to be there for me. And he was being there for me in the sense of he wanted me to grow up. It was time for me to step out on my own and do my own thing. So when it came to the government assistance, I know Pastor K alluded to that. I told him I was only going to be on government assistance for 1 year. And the reason why I said that was because I've known others that have been on government assistance for years, and I didn't want to be that mother. I wanted to be someone that continued to educate myself. And one of the things that I also remember, not only from my mom, but from my very own Dr. Wells, she had told me, she said, who says you can't go back to school? Who says that you can't own a business? Who said that you can't do all these other things? And she said, many people do it with several children, so you can do it too. And so I took hold of that because I didn't want to be, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with government assistance. If you need it more than a year, that's not your testimony. That was my testimony, and that was an expectation. My desire, yes. And that was an expectation that I told God, like, look, we gonna get out of this, and this is what we're gonna do. But I had to set that expectation because I know that if I didn't, I would have became complacent or stuck within that particular place. So it caused me to grow. And my parents, I know we were laughing earlier about was Pastor K. She was, but Pastor K was, I think for a bit of time with me, I like to say I'm their favorite, but of course the others will say different. Oh, you saying I'm mom's favorite?
You are.
Oh, okay, she's saying I'm mom's favorite.
I know that. I mean, no, not you. No, I'm saying I don't have no favorite. Not that.
But I think that I know, and we've had conversations. It really hurt her heart that I had a child outside of marriage. I was one of those that I was the Bible toting, good God girl. I was not going to skip school. I was not going to disobey my parents. And so for me, getting pregnant at 21, even though some may say that was an adult, yes, it was an adult, but I think at that time I probably had the mental capacity of an 18-year-old because I didn't know, certain things that, hey, when you do this, this gonna happen. So I mean, I'm thankful for the journey. I'm thankful for the hard lessons and the tough love. But the tough love did come more from my mama than it came from my daddy. So, yes.
Well, let me say this, and thank you for sharing your heart.
Yes.
When each of these and those things happen, as a mother, I am very protective of my girls, and you do have an expectation, from them. That's just that aspect. Them in the grades or their lifestyle, just all those things. But I had that support from my mother, and particularly with her. I had so much anger and rage in me when that particular thing happened that I called my mother. And you know what my mama told me? She said, "Sound like to me you got I think it was like an unforgiving spirit." I can't remember exactly what she said. I'm thinking like, why would she tell me? I want her to support me and that she wasn't gonna let me beat up on my daughter, on her granddaughter. She wasn't gonna let me beat up on my children. And so those are things, just expectations of things that you want to just expectation. But y'all have done beautifully with my granddaughters and beautiful girls, and I don't have favorites because
We do good with your grandchildren? Half the time, Pastor K thinks that she's their parent, their mother.
I do not. I do. Listen.
She has a lot of wisdom to share with our children that she shared with us. And we appreciate, DeAndre, you appreciate that, right?
I do.
But sometimes it's like, okay, let me parent this seed that came out of me. But I think that go ahead, go.
We'll be right back.
No. You said we being real. We being real, right, and raw. So we don't. I think that as a mother, she has so much wisdom. She wants to make sure that our girls are guided in a way that that is beneficial to them and also beneficial to us as a parent. But I know sometimes we're like, now.
I'm looking this direction. So let me clarify. Which camera we on? Which camera?
We on straight ahead.
We on straight ahead. When it comes, I don't, and they don't either. In regards, I don't play about seatbelts. I don't play about sleep time, consistency. It's a whole lot of things. I mean, they do a wonderful job, but I'm a stickler. I think I purchased about 5 seatbelts, five
car seats. No, the car seats cost like $60.
How many have I bought?
2.
No, I have not. I bought more than 2. I bought several car seats because if it's a car seat and I said, let me go run down to Walmart. Let me get a car seat. I go get a car seat. So I was about 2. I think it's 2.
Maybe 3.
We'll talk about it off air.
Because I know you bought 2 when you were over there on Dinner Creek.
Yes, ma'am.
So before the reason why we brought up the car seat thing is Pastor K is a stickler. We all are sticklers that the children have to be please buckle your children in.
Yes.
Make sure that the latch is over their breastplate properly and it is properly secured on your children. Because that is very much so important. But the reason why we brought that up is because of car seats. And our niece, Lonnie, DeAndre's kid, she probably has like 8 car seats because we will literally get somewhere and someone will leave and the car seat is in their car. So as a mother,
she just validated.
As a mother,
we're all total, meaning
that
and we're being transparent, right? So I will say honestly, I'm like, okay, we're only going 2 miles. Let's just go, or 22 miles. Let's go down the road and we'll pray.
I'm to the rescue.
I'll pray the whole way, and I'll say, but Pastor K is, she will say, let's stop right there. Let's go. Somebody will go purchase another car seat or wait for somebody to get back. So I will say that I have done that on 1 or 2 occasions. But when it comes to mothering, we always want to make sure our kids are safe. So.
Okay. So, DeAndre, can you want to jump in on something? Was there something you wanted to jump in? All right. Okay. So we have a few more minutes, and let's see. All right. So, you have one child, 3 girls, and 3 girls, and then I have 2 girls and 1 son. So when I think about being a mother, I'm the only one that has raised a son. And so all of those are very important to me to be able to nurture each of my children. And Dr. Brown, when you talk about being fair, being treating them the same and everything, I just really admire that, because now I believe I'm able to put that over to my children. As DeAndre's 36th birthday's next May 13th. She was actually born on Mother's Day. So we're talking about mothers, and this is our Mother's Day special. She was born on Mother's Day. This Sunday will be 37 years ago. And then Mr. Deborah, 33 years old. And then my son, our son, is 31 years old. But I value being a mother. Now, I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. I loved it. I think in that the first 17 years, I think I worked for 3 months. I worked for somewhere for a little bit, or 6 weeks or something like that. But for the most part, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved that. What would you say, as a mother and having to provide for your child, is your greatest reward? And I know, Dr. Brown, we're grown now. And what would you say is your greatest reward being a mother and having worked and been a great example to show us about education, about learning different skills, you playing the piano, things like that. So each of you can jump in at some point. And what's your greatest reward?
I'll say now, my greatest reward is when she tells me, like, Mama, I'm thankful for you, or when we say our morning prayers, our morning affirmations on the way to school, or if we're going somewhere, and just to hear her pray, and to see that those things that I've deposited within her, how those things have really flourished in her life. One of the things that was rewarding when she was smaller is just to see your little one smile at you. For me, that meant, okay, there's some joy there, there's some happiness there. But now that she's older and she's 11, to hear her say stuff like, Mommy, I appreciate you, or Mommy, thank you for doing this for me, or like I said, the morning prayers for me. When she prays over me, it lets me know that I've instilled those things into her. So that's just so rewarding for me. I love you. What would you say, Dee, is the most rewarding thing about being a mother?
A working mother and supporting and giving her support.
Well, one of the greatest rewards is having somebody to go get the remote when I feel like moving.
Wait. The most rewarding is somebody to turn off the light.
Hey, turn it off. No, one of the greatest rewards for me as being a mother is just to look into her eyes and know that she loves me. Even though she's hardly ever with me, people think that Mr. Deborah's probably her mama, because she stays with her most of the time. Even in a car ride, she'll say, Mom, and I'm like, yes. Or I say, yes, ma'am, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. And then she'll wait like 15 minutes and she'll say, Mom. I'm like, yes, ma'am, I love you. Mm-hmm. Or, just having, that's like my broke best friend. My best friend that wants to buy everything in the world, and she has, just to see the ambition and things that she wants to do, Like even today we were in the car talking, and she was like, "Mom, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a dog walker." And you know, and she was like, "And I'm gonna buy you a big old house so you don't have to work anymore." You know, just the love that you know she has, even in the midst of her having her attitude.
Okay. Those are things that we make a lasting impression. We make an impression. A lasting impression could be a negative impression or a positive impression, but we make impressions. So we're gonna close out with some things, but we're gonna talk. Mama?
Yes, I would like to say my greatest things in life about my daughters. I thank God that they're God-fearing daughters, and that the legacy that my mother left me of prayer is passed down to each one of those girls. They're all prayer warriors. And I thank God most of all for Kwajalein, because on the end, I didn't know this was the one that's going to end up being
Just like you.
just like me, being a pastor's wife.
Well, we ain't counting the other two out.
Oh, no, but
Cole
I'm-
and Debbie, their husbands could be pastors.
Yeah, well, right, but I'm talking about the
Tony?
what we went through as a teenager, darling. And I prayed to God.
You was
so hard
troublesome, huh? You
for
said she was
her
troublesome.
in her adolescence.
Say it, just say
area.
it, just say it, man.
Yes, she was. God bless.
Just let
Let it out,
And
Dr. Brown.
I
Don't
feel in my
sugarcoat
heart,
it
I know in
down.
my heart that God put them together, because when she told me that they were engaged to get married, I said, she just got out of high school. She doesn't know what she's talking about. This is what I said within me. But now look at God all these years later. I mean, all my girls are successfully and they're married, and I'm glad of God. But most of them, they are Christians, and they are God-fearing women, praying women. I'm talking about warfare prayer. Not no kindergarten prayer. They do that warfare. Yeah, prayer. And speaking them tongues.
Yes.
And I want to add this. Yesterday when those balls were falling on that window about to break, and we were getting ready to tend to some business talking there.
Yes, ma'am.
And we touched and agreed and told that wind to take.
To
And
break up.
in 2 minutes, it was going on that, tapping on that window
Yes,
like it was
yes.
going to break. I said, we got to move.
Yes.
And then she said, let's pray right now. You go the other way. You go the other way. We spoke to the wind, and it went the other way. So I'm glad that God got that spirit. And listen, you all pray, you Christians, pray and get off those kindergarten prayers.
Okay, well, now that Mama, you've opened that door, what do you value as you women of God that are praying? I value my mama as a praying mama. And I know they got this meme out that this lady's coming through the house and she's praying at 2 a.m. in the morning, and they have shared that with me. How much do you value that, the prayers that have been, whether it was inconvenient at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or do you remember those times?
Of course we remember them. Look, I value them, but just the other day I was like, now God, you know I gotta work out at 5:30 in the morning. Now God. Now I'm gonna need you to So I was awoken by so much prayer. I mean, and when something about our family is we some intercessors. We gonna pray. We grew up. We grew up on prayer, and it's come from generation to generation. But I value it so much. But I mean, if we just being real, sometimes I'm like, come on, God, now listen. You wake them up let them pray before I go to bed. And still being in the home, like it's so valuable. And when I finally got up, and I was mad. I mean, the way I threw the covers off was like, daggone it, like, come on, because I was super tired that night. But I ended up getting up and praying with them and touching and agreeing with them, and it was so amazing. Mm-hmm. But you know how, I mean, the prayers of the righteous, they do availeth much. But I'd be like, Lord, now let them avail at another time, not at this time.
Timing is very important.
Yes, timing is very important. You're right, and I'm not being facetious about the time.
It's not always convenient. What were you going to say?
She said, "Do remember? We remember the covers coming back like this, or she grabbing your toes,
I do not,
and you waking up, and you're like."
Oh, and Pastor K, if she don't have no oil and the Lord tells her she can't locate it, she will
Yes.
put spit on your head or under the bottom of your feet.
Yes, she will.
But we appreciate those. I mean,
I mean, even not being in the home anymore it has gotten me through many, even not just even before I moved here, when some life events that happened, going through a divorce and, you know, being a single mom, you know, some things I still remember from when because I left here when I was about 18. I went to college for a year, and then I came back home and I told my dad, I was like, I gotta go. You know, it's time to go. And I moved to Florida. I was in Florida for like 15, 17 years, something like that. And it got me through a lot of situations that I either put myself in or unknowingly had myself in. And even now, being a mom with my daughter and, you know, working about 3-4 jobs and, you know, just doing that, it gets me through. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, even when it comes to 5 a.m. prayer, I had an alarm off and I'm like, Lord, pray for me. And, you know, I'm honest, you know,
right.
but it seems like all the time he meets me in my car, and that's actually where I have my time with him. Even when I'm praying for the husband that God has blessed me with, he ain't here yet, but he done blessed me with. I pray for him in the car. You know, and just I find myself more and more when I'm like I don't feel like praying. It actually just falls on me, and I do it anyway. I'm not here, you know, where I'm gonna wake you up and I'm gonna be like, you know, or, you know, you hear screaming throughout the house because, you know, mama's praying or mama done ran around the house screaming and, you know, I ain't there, but, you know, it has taught us a lot, you know, and I'm thankful for it now. Back then I was like, I can't even say back then, it was even a couple months ago. I'd be like, Lord, now Pastor K knows
you gonna do it now, Lord, gonna do it.
And she want us to go look at this child care.
Like
She gonna let us sleep.
Down.
But, you know, she was interceding for us, and not, you know, us not knowing what she was interceding for. And sometimes it's not even anything that's happening. She's just covering her children, even though we're not the words of children. We're all adults, but, you know, we came from her. So
It's all God.
It's all God.
It's all God.
Well, I'm going to say it like this. I got it from my mama, and then she got it from her mama, and my grandmother got it from her mother-in-law. My great-grandmother was an intercessor. My grandfather's mother was an intercessor, so she introduced us, and it's just it's something that I love, I cherish. So we're going to close out. I hope y'all are being blessed. I hope you're being blessed. And if you have a question that you want to ask us, we're going. We have some questions. We have someone that has something. No. Okay. So what we want to do, I want to close out because I didn't want to keep it too long. There's so much valuable information that we could share. And so as I'm talking, I'm going to ask you ladies, my mama and my daughters, what legacy do you want to leave? What legacy do you think has been left for you, and what do you want to leave for your children? What legacy has been left for you that you want to, or whether you want to pass that one on, or something that you want to pass on to your child? It doesn't have to be a daughter, but since all of y'all have daughters, I can just speak for my children. But I want to take, while they're thinking about that, want to definitely thank you for tuning in. We do have Mother's Day that's going to be coming up, and so a lot of gifts that we have a special gift for the ones that will be in person, as well as those that will be viewing. So here in the city that are members of the Oasis, or those that will visit with us. I want to give a shout out to Bishop, to my husband, to Derek. I call him Babe. I want to say that because without him, I couldn't be a mother. So I always, and you know, that was the funny thing about it. DeAndre and Deborah say how we could be, one, with one, that's more than three. I wanted 5 children. And so I'm gonna be like Mother Jean Randolph, and she's going on to be with the Lord, but she was so instrumental to helping save my marriage because I wanted 5 children. And Bishop wanted 1, and 1, and then say 2, and then
that would have been me.
It is you, but you needed. God knew you needed.
Did I want?
God knew you needed
You wanted me.
this
No,
precious heart,
Bishop only wanted me.
and your son, and I mean your brother. That
No, that
so.
A mother's love.
So on the second one, when I did the sonogram in Jacksonville, Florida, and they told me that was going to be a girl, and I wanted a son. Of course, I was happy for each of my children, but Bishop wanted one. He said, "Okay, one more would be two, and then it was still another girl." So I told Bishop, I said, "We're going to be like," I said, "I'm just going to be like Aunt Molly." He like, he knew what that meant. Well, Aunt Molly with the number of children, and. So, God blessed us later on. We became pregnant in a son. But I always, I want to shout out to him because I want to let you know that I love you. He's in here, but I love you. I love you so much. And I thank you for making me a mother, allowing the children. You helped me. One of the things he said that he didn't know, once we had DeAndre, to watch me actually nurture. It's something that's inside of us. We're nurturers, we're mothers, we give life, and we're life givers. Naturally, and biologically, and some maybe you have not nurtured or birthed someone naturally, but you're still a mother. And so the wisdom that you have, the wisdom that I have, doesn't all the time come from another woman. He showed me so much love that I knew, and I wanted to cultivate my child, that one child, then the two children, then the three. And so I just want to say, I love you so much, babe. He's in here and he's blowing kisses back. But
we have a list for Mother's Day of things she would like.
Yes, thank you. You do so much for me, so thank you. Thank you for being a wonderful father to our three children, as I'm a mother. Thank you so much. So we're gonna go right into this. What legacy, or what do you want? What has been left for you, and what do you want to leave for your child? For me, well, I don't have to go first. Y'all just jump in.
What's left for me and what I plan on leaving for her is prayer. That's the basis on both sides of my family. It's funny. Both my grandmothers are teachers, so we have education on both sides, and both of them are, prayer warriors. So it's a part of our family. So
Right.
it's something that I want to instill into her, and that was instilled into me, that she can carry on to when she has my grandchildren and my great grandchildren, because I'm gonna live to 120 at least.
Oh yes, that's the word. That's the word. Anyone else?
Yes, I would like to leave the Levite spirit of praise and worship that runs in the family, and I would love to see someone of my grandchildren to pick up that piano playing. Even you don't have to take it from me; you can take it from someone else, because I still am waiting for God to allow me to do a recording, and they will learn enough they could be the one to do the music for me. I've got 7 or more great grandchildren. And they can do it musically.
That's good. That's good. That is a desire of my mama's. Someone that picked it up. So I play by ear, very limited. My sister Coretta has taken lessons.
Deborah, I had all 3 of them were taking music from Albany State College, but they told me I was trying to force the gift that I had.
Didn't say that.
Yeah, one of my daughters told me that.
It, yes.
But look she could have been the musician along with.
Well, I just got the part from her from singing. I'll take the singing. I can play some things by.
It's not too late. It's never
ear.
too late. It's never too late. There's many sites on the web place that help you with all the musical instruments we got. You can learn. It's not too late. It's never too late. And I would like to add also, no matter what trouble you're getting from any of your children, don't give up on them. Don't give up on them, because it's a gift on the inside of them that God wants to bring out. And they need you and your support to back them up. Let them know you love them, but don't love what they're doing is not according and pleasing to God.
Or you used to tell us, don't love them more than we love them.
Don't love your
Oh,
children.
that's right. I tell you that. Do not do that. My mom said, don't make a God out of your children.
Yes.
She said that God will take them away.
And you taught that to my daughter, because she said, Mama, I love you, but I love God more.
That's right.
I said, that's not right.
Say it again. Say it loud for
She said,
them.
Mama, I love you, but I love God more than I love you.
That's right. That's
That
what the
was
word
put
says.
it back. Yes,
That's what the word says. Okay. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I would say I want to leave a legacy just of genuine love.
Good.
As I was thinking about the question, I just wanted to chime in. Everybody didn't grow. We thankfully were able to grow up in a godly household, but I want to speak to that mother that maybe they didn't grow up with godly parents, so they're wondering. Many times people are thinking, okay, I want to leave a legacy, but what is that? What does that look like for you? For me, I would say I want it to look like genuine love. I want her to know what it is to have a godly relationship with God, but not a sugar-coated relationship. And when I say a sugar-coated relationship, when I first gave birth to Carrington, I love Jesus, but I really didn't genuinely have a relationship with him. My relationship was, I was basically piggybacking on my parents' salvation and not my own. And so I would want her to have a relationship with God. Yes, she's going to go through different circumstances and situations, but have that discipline to live genuinely for God. So I encourage you to find that purpose of what your legacy is that you want to leave for your children, but also cultivate that in your home. Cultivate that out of the words that you speak out of your mouth over your children. Not telling them, now you look over here looking like your daddy. Now get that cereal. You know? And I've done that to my baby before. Like, you look like that amazing young man, you know, and I'll tell her, go get that, you know. So cultivating that, nurturing her so that she can have that relationship. So with God.
Good, very good.
That's very good. I want to say this before I say what has been left. Let me say this. What has been left for me is prayer, praise, worship, and a valuing of life. And what I want to leave, I believe, is already being lived out through my daughters, of love and respect. One of the things I do want to say that I admire about my daughters is open dialogue. Sometimes I think it's too much dialogue, but I think it's like you don't get a choice. Like maybe the sign. I'm not saying a good and a bad. I'm making a good. I admire that about you because you always tell them. Neilani would say, "Mommy, can I tell you something?" And she says, "Mom, you could tell Mommy anything." Carrington wants to talk. You know, it's straight talk. Okay, we could talk. Let's talk about it. And I know for part of what I was growing up, not necessarily my mother, but my grandmother was more stern. My mother was firm and firm. I don't ever think she was strict. She was firm. You were firm. But grandmama was more strict. So go sit down and over there. And when you had things that you may wanted to have talked about, is you do as I say and not do as I say and not ask a lot of questions. And so I believe you opened up that door a little bit more because we said we want to go to a party. And well, more Debbie and Dr. Gwen, I'm gonna put her on there, and my cousin Dee Dee, not Dee Dee, and Clyde, all of them, they were older, so they wanted to go to parties and stuff. And we were younger, but we didn't get to, you know, so we would hear them say, we want to go to a party. And my grandmama, she would say, "They ain't going to no party," and we had to learn. We couldn't ask certain things in front of my grandmother because you wasn't doing it. And so you opened that and you were more gentler and more compassionate. Maybe I don't know what aspect of, maybe because Papa was a little bit, bring my dad in there, but maybe he was a little more lenient on some aspects.
Granddaddy lenient, period.
Okay.
He lenient now.
We're gonna talk this about Father's Day
special. I brought him up because I'm talking about
my papa.
But if we talk about leniency in Mother's Day, we could talk about how she is with her son.
Yes.
And
this is
walk hand.
But we gonna we wrapping this up, right?
But what I wanted to say is that because you opened that and allowed me to talk and say some things, you know, unlimited. But these girls here, and it's a new day, and some things some things I think sometimes is too much choices. That we weren't given a choice. You're going to do what I asked you to do and do that, and then that's it. But I really welcome how you all talk to them and allow them to be open to you and come to you. And if there's something that happening in their life, whether school, home, dreams. I often hear y'all say when y'all had bad dreams, I would say go to bed and pray. I don't remember that. I do remember saying go back and pray, but
Did you pray first?
did you pray first? But you actually have them coming in and you pray, and they don't have a problem getting into bed with Grams and Papa, although Papa may not, y'all open that, and I really admire that. So that's what I would like to leave, not just what I admire about y'all, but the legacy of health, wealth, getting our bodies together, intercession, travel. There's so much that we do, and we're leaving a hope, not just one thing, but there are many things. So I just want to thank y'all for listening to us. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like and then share the end of it, share it with someone, because there's some great impactful stuff. So I'm going to say happy Mother's Day, Mama. You are a wonderful mother. Even as a child, when I would think you were being mean, I don't believe that you were being mean. Now that I look at it, it was only to develop me and to make me who I am today because of your prayers and your intercession.
Praise God.
And I like to curl up with my mom in the bed sometimes, and she don't like nobody in her space, so we still getting over into that and scoot over. Now she's a little bit more, okay, you can sit
I
on this,
receive it.
sit in that part. But anything y'all want to close out with really quick before we go?
No, I just want to tell you happy Mother's Day as well. To you
Wait,
too.
now that sounds like you ain't getting me nothing. No, I'm
It's too close to my birthday.
I just said.
No, you've instilled a lot in me, and even when I thought you were being hard.
She was hard.
She was hard. Now that I'm adult, it's just, you have a certain way you like things to be done and ran, even as...
Excellent.
Yes. Excellence times 10, which I'm trying to add to my life. But no, you are a wonderful mother. I couldn't imagine not having you as my mom. Even the funny moments we have, the moments of where we cried together, the moments we were mad and, we got it right, or, the Lord had to bring us back together to get it right. Even over the years, just even being back, restoring the relationship that we've had, and actually strengthening it, because, life happens. But, I thank God that God placed me back here, willingly or unwillingly. I'm here, and I'm glad I'm back. And, just glad, I get to see you. If I don't see you every day, text every day at least 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
5 days. Yeah. So.
When God tell me to call or text, I do it. I ain't got time, because the Apple phone, the Android, I could schedule it, but the Apple phone doesn't do that. So I have to do it when it's in. And I don't put it in my notes. If I put it in my notes, I'm gonna forget about it. So if I do it right there, so. All right.
So I'll just say happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there, even those that didn't naturally birth any children. You are still a mother. As you pour out wisdom to others, you are mothering them in such a great way. And to these amazing women, each of you have provided something in regards to what it is to be a mother. For my sister, I will just say she's the one that first started spoiling Carrington, and now I'm left to deal with it and try to
Care.
Now she's paying me back.
yes. And then for my grandmother, just not only I know we've talked a lot about prayer, but also when it comes to praising the Lord, one of the things I love about my grandmother is that even when she's coming into the church or she's somewhere, she doesn't negate it to get down on her knees and honor God, and honor that space and give God due diligence. So I value that in you. I wish I would have picked up the piano playing, but thank God that my significant will have that. So, and then in regards to Dr. K, in regards to Dr. Pastor Quadlin Thomas, my mama, I know I said earlier favorite, and somebody put in the comment, favor it. So I was like, I kind of like that. But no, in all truth, I appreciate you being my mama. I know that even though I'm 33 years old, I don't know if anybody else does this, But I'll still crawl in the bed with my mom and just lay with her, just to be able to listen to the sound of her breathing as we're watching TV or if we're doing something. And I just value that that is still an open door policy for us. And I'm just so thankful for that. I'm just so thankful that you still allow me to have that space, because I need that space. As a single mom, I still need that space to be able to be unguarded and to be open. So I appreciate that from you.
Thank you. I love each of you. I love you. I love you. And I'm still stuck on the significant with the.
No. I meant, when God, whenever God does what He's gonna do.
Yes. We're gonna go ahead and close out, but just so many different things that we could go back and forth about and accolades and stuff like that. But one of the things I thought about, DeAndre she's the comedian of the family. My mother.
People would never believe that.
No, my mama you remember when grandmama gave you that iPad?
Oh, she wouldn't give me she gave me a laptop.
Laptop. She had to drive from
Back
Jacksonville to Albany because she would not give her the password. She was doing like that. So we could not stop laughing. So we have a lot of humor.
Well, back then they told you don't give your password out.
Not even to your relatives.
We didn't know. I didn't know the the importance of it.
You still don't.
Huh?
You still don't.
Well, listen, because you know what? You better obey what they say when you don't know why they say it.
We're gonna say good night to everyone.
She's gonna make us laugh about anything. I love my granddaughter.
I know. So we want to say good night, and let's see. We're gonna close out in prayer. Let's see. We're going to close out in prayer. Father, we thank you and we bless you. We thank you, God, for this night. We thank you for you being such a loving God. Thank you, God, for this time of intimacy and laughter and fun and seriousness and things of nuggets of wisdom that we can share with other mothers, from daughters to granddaughters, and our great-granddaughters. My mother's great-granddaughters are in the house. So we have generations that are here. And so we thank you right now, Lord, that we will live out all our days. And Lord, you even told us in the Word of God that we are to talk about the works of God and the glory of God as we're sitting at the table, as we're walking in throughout it. We're at Disney World or Disneyland or Sea World or wherever we are. You said for us to talk about this in the midst of our loved ones, our sons, our daughters, our grands, our those, oh God, the generations, God. I thank you for the matriarch of this family, God, on this side, Father. I just praise you, God, that we would continue to show forth the love of God, the excellence, the prayer, the praise, the wealth, the health, oh God, the emotional stability, oh God, and the tenacity and the desire and the passion to win souls, God. We thank you for our grandgirls, God, as they will one day, God, if there's their goal, if it's your plan and their desire to have a husband, God, that you would bless them. I've already started praying for this. Started praying for my children when they're about 7 years old for their spouses, because I heard someone talk about that. And so we thank you and we bless you, God, that their life is hid with you and the offspring and generations to come. We bless you and we love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Come on, we're just going to say Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.